Hi everyone. I know it is 5 past, but there are a couple of people. I'm not sure how many people I'm supposed to have, to be honest. But it seems we're quite thin on the ground. Can you just give me a thumbs up or something in the chat if you can hear me? Or just a yes or something. Ah, perfect. Thank you. I was getting a bit worried then. Lovely. Okay, we've got a few more now. I'm just going to give it 30 more seconds to see who hops in, because we've only got, oh, we're getting more now, to be fair. We've only got 11. Now, I'll be honest, this is hopefully going to be quite like not a discussion based, because obviously we can't talk, but a discussion in the chat box kind of based session, because I don't want to overwhelm you with information today, which I'm sure you're going to be getting from a lot of your other subjects. So I am going to make a start. I think we have enough people. Let me just check. Yeah, I think we have enough people. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to make a start then. There are going to be a couple of times when I ask you to be a bit interactive with me. You don't have to speak or turn your cameras on, but typing in the chat would be really appreciated. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking to myself. So hello, I'm Miss Cross, and I am going to be the lead for media next year, which means I will be taking you guys along with Miss Brooker, who will be teaching you, I think, 5 times over the 2 weeks, and I'll be teaching you 4 times over the 2 weeks. So you'll have a nice, almost even split between the two of us. Okay, so I'm going to go through first what's expected. What's to be expected from this course, and it's really new. We haven't done it here at Shenley before, so this is the first time we're ever running this course, so you guys are going to be the first ones to experience it. So you've got 3 mandatory units. You've got unit 1, media products and audiences, pre-production and planning, and creating a media product. Now, I'm guessing most of you have done media at GCSE. Give me a yes or a no if you maybe haven't. It's okay if you haven't, just good to get an idea. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe I need to go into a little bit more detail about, what some of these things mean. I'm sure you know what audiences means and planning. Pre-production is basically everything you need to do before producing a product. And then you get to create a media product. Now, if you haven't done media before, don't worry. We'll teach you how to use any software, how to plan effectively. And the units will be really structured for those of you that haven't studied media before. Now, as you can see at the bottom, we have got some optional units. Now, we've decided we are going to do the advertising one, okay? But we, as a department, there's 3 of us, and we can't decide whether we want to do social media, sound and the impact of sound, or journalism and news. Now, you've got 3 choices there. Can you type in the chat box for me which one sounds really interesting to you? Because I don't want to choose a topic and then everybody hate it. So I'd like to know what you think. Okay, social media. To be fair, I was thinking social media. Journalism, okay, good. Ooh. Okay, so we've got a lot of social media coming through, a couple of journalism. It's just really good for us to get an idea of what you guys are into, because we don't want to make you study journalism if you're not particularly as a group interested in journalism or something like that. So it seems a lot of social media has come from there, which is absolutely fine. We'll have a chat and see what we decide from there. That's okay. So the main thing to take from these is that you have, well, 2, maybe 3 exams, depending on which one we choose. 3 exams where you sit in the hall and you do the proper exams, and then the rest of them are similar to coursework. So you create the product and they're internally assessed, and then someone will moderate them and check that we've given you the correct grades and stuff like that. So overall, the course is pretty easily laid out. The modules are really clear. And yeah. So why, for those of you especially who haven't done media at GCSE, why do we study media? Why are we bothering? I'm also loving that you guys are really active in the chat. It's a good start. Any ideas why we study media? I'll give you a second or two to type in what you need to type if you've got any ideas. Okay, to understand the world around us and how things are presented. Yes, definitely. There's the idea of being able to decode things that are put in front of you, see if they've got a political bias and things like that. Okay, yeah, nice. So how it affects people's ideas, how it affects, for example, how much a newspaper article can affect, the voting when we come to election time, how much one newspaper article can affect someone's vote or which political party ends up winning. Sorry, my lights have gone out. There you go. Any more ideas on that? We can move on. If not, don't want to push past anybody who is still typing. Now, the next question is more of a personal one, I suppose. What social media do you guys use? Or what media? I mean, obviously, we all use social media. But what media do you guys use every single day? Think about what you see when you wake up, when you come into school, when you're in the car. Okay, so we've got Twitter, so we've got social media. Good. Radio, good. I've only just noticed as well, quite a few of you are from Shenley, aren't you? You can see your little form groups at the side there. So we've got social media, we've got radio. What else? TV, yes, lovely. YouTube, good. Newspapers, definitely. And I suppose you guys aren't really at that age where you read the newspaper. Some of you might. Does anybody read the newspaper? It's usually the older generation that will focus more on newspapers and things like that. So online news, okay, great. Lovely. Magazines, okay, good. And you can get magazines on like your tablets now as well, can't you? Which is great. Okay, so we'll move on from that. And all the things that you've put in the chat box give us an idea of how much we rely on social media every single day. Okay, I don't know about you, but I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, check my messages, have a little scroll through my social media, whichever one, maybe Instagram, whatever. And then you go to school, you do what you need to do, and then you go home and then you pick up your phone again. You might be looking at news, you might be looking at social media still, but we spend a lot of time online and on our mobile phones. So it's really important that we study what is going on around us and how it impacts us in our everyday life. Now, advertising. This is going to be one of the units that we study, is advertising. So in the chat box, I want you to name some places you might see an advert. For example, I could say a billboard on the motorway. Yeah. So TV, yes, is a massive one. Bus stops, yes, lovely. YouTube. Oh, they're so annoying though, those YouTube ones, aren't they? Posters, social media. And those social media ones usually are catered to you, aren't they? So they look at your search history and they bring up things, that you want. And I've been recently looking at getting a pair of Vans, and everywhere I go now, Vans everywhere. Video games. I can't say I play many video games, but yes. Radio, definitely. The radio is full of ads, isn't it? Absolutely full of them. Newspapers and magazines. Yeah, if you think about newspapers and magazines, that's how they make their money, isn't it? They have to have advertisements in there. Okay, so the next question I'm going to focus on, there's like 3 or 4 different questions down there. I'm not going to focus on all of them. I would like to focus on how is digital technology changing the way we advertise? So before, we used to have a lot of advertisements in the newspapers. We used to have a lot of advertisements on bus stops and billboards and things like that. But now, a lot of the things that are advertised to us are online. Okay, when they know that we sit on our phones in the morning, they know that we sit on our phones at night before we go to sleep. Okay, and that's how they're now advertising their brands to us. Social media managers is now one of the biggest job roles because everybody needs someone to sort out their social media and find a way to advertise effectively to their specific audience. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the differences between these 4 types of advertising. Now, I want to state that the reason we're doing this is it's kind of like, well, it's supposed to be a taster session, isn't it? So this is the sort of thing we would be doing in lesson, in person, if you guys were allowed to come into school. And when you start in September, this is the sort of thing we're going to be focusing on. So can anybody tell me what are the differences between print, TV, internet and mobile? Internet and mobile is a tricky one as well. So for example, if you think about print, how many of us on here said we read a physical newspaper or a physical magazine? Pretty much none of us. And even if you did read it online, that's still print that you're reading. You're still reading a print text. Okay, so you're thinking about newspapers and magazines. Okay, but the audience is very niche. Okay, you're putting your product out to specific people that you want to be engaged with you. So let me read some of those comments. Print's more expensive, can be, but then they charge a decent amount that then covers that cost of production. TV focuses on audio visual, good. Good, okay, so you've got the advertisements in between TV shows. Any more? It's okay if not, we can go through some. So think about what I was saying about like your audience. Okay, so with print, your audience is very niche. It's very selected. Okay, what about on the TV? Who's your audience? If you're sat there watching Love Island, yeah, good, okay. So we've got a broader audience, haven't we? It's a mass audience that we've got there. Okay, everybody knows the Go Compare song. Okay, even if you're 15 years old and you don't need to compare any prices for anything, you know the Go Compare song. Okay, they've advertised that so that it can be accepted on a larger appeal. What about, oh, let me read a bit more. Good, so we have mobile phones with us all the time. Okay, they tend to be directed towards the user. Any ads that you see on your mobile phone, like I said earlier, are usually something that you've searched up 20 minutes before, and now they're like, oh, I know what we could do. We could tell her that she really needs this pair of Vans from this website. Okay, so let's go through it on here. So we've already been through, print is more targeted. Okay, it's very, very niche audience. TV has mass audience appeal. Internet makes use of new technology. Now, the last bit there is really important, to track habits. They see how often you go on this website. They see how often you go on Facebook, on Netflix, on Twitter. Okay, my lights keep going off. They know exactly what you're using, and then unless you turn off like your cookies or whatever, but then you have to go through that whole long process of selecting what you do want and what you don't want. And you've got a mobile which is with you at all times, and it's very directed towards you. Okay, it knows exactly what you're doing at all times, which sounds pretty scary actually, doesn't it? Okay, So I want to move on to show you a couple of ads, because we already only have half an hour left, haven't we? Finishes at 10:50. So our time is going really quickly. So I'm going to show you some ads, and I want you to write down in the chat what is effective or not effective about these ads that you're seeing. Do you think it does the job it's supposed to do? Okay, so this is the first one here. You're on an aeroplane, and it says, for a product demo, break the glass. What do you think they're trying to sell there? What are they advertising? Any ideas what they're trying to advertise? Okay, vacuum. What is it that's keeping either good parachutes or strong glass? Good. Well, think about where that advertisement is placed. Okay, so it says, for a product demo, break the glass. It's got the little logo in the corner, and it's placed on the glass, which suggests what? This is probably the most difficult one I've actually put on here. Probably a mean one to start with, to be honest. So it's advertising the glass that they've used, okay? And it's saying, you know, if you don't believe us that it's the best glass around, then try and break it. And that'll give you a demonstration of just how good it is. Okay, you won't be able to break this glass. Do you think this ad's effective? Or do you think it's a bit confusing? Isn't clear? Okay, so we've got a no. Can anyone expand? Why do you think it's not an effective ad? A bit confusing, not clear what it means. Okay, good. Okay. Good. Yeah, loads of comments in there that are great. So you shouldn't have to think too much about it. You see an ad, if you think about it, I suppose on a plane it's different because you get longer to look at it. But if you're like driving past a billboard, you don't get minutes to think about what it means. You have that 10 seconds that you're driving past. Okay. It's unclear what they're actually advertising. Makes people annoyed. Don't think anyone would ever actually test the glass. I think that's the point. You have to read into it too much. Yes, definitely. Okay, so let's have a look at a bit of a simpler one then. Let's have a look at this one. What is this one advertising? Okay, nice. Love that, Molly. Eye-catching, and younger audience could want the plasters because Hulk wears them. Love that, especially young boys. Marvel. We can have some nice discussions about Marvel when we're in the classroom. Okay, good. So it's telling us how strong the plaster is. It's saying this plaster is so strong that even the Hulk could wear it, and when he changes it, he still wouldn't break it, even though we know that the Hulk is extremely strong. Okay, is this ad effective? Okay, so lots of yeses there. Why do we think it's effective then? What about it makes it a good ad? If you do have the guts to unmute yourself, by the way, please do. Okay, so it's clear what they're trying to advertise, what they're trying to get across. Memorable. You've written an audience there, Bianca. Do you mean that it's a clear audience? Strength of the Hulk is used. Effective, reaches various audience. Good. Memorable, lovely. I love that idea that it reaches various audiences, because you see, you know, you might have like I don't know how old you are when you watch Marvel. Probably like 10-year-olds walking past. Oh my God, it's the Hulk. Mum, we have to get these plasters. These are the best ones. Okay, something you relate to. They've got popular culture, haven't they? That's really, really important. They're bringing something that everybody knows and showing them how that relates to their product, which is really smart. Use popular culture, use it to your advantage. Because there will be a time when I'm going to ask you to create something, or Miss Brooker will ask you to create something, and you have to really think about what images you're using and how you're going to use them effectively. Now, this next one, I would say, is a little bit more difficult. So I want you to really look at it to try and pull out the meaning of this ad. Oh, went too far. What does it say there? Can anybody have a guess at what it means? Okay, you've got the Harley Davidson sort of logo there. So what are they? You've got the idea that it's related to Harley Davidson, but what are they trying to get across? What's the nurse doing? Ooh.
It looks like he's like it looks like he's thinking that he's driving like a motorcycle or something.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks like, so he's sat in the position of like what you would be when you ride a motorcycle, wouldn't you? Thank you for unmuting yourself as well. That's amazing. Yeah, so it looks like he's riding a motorcycle. And if you read the words in the top corner, it says stop dreaming. Okay, let me just read some of the chats. Not quite. We're all focusing on the injured person. Good, exactly, Chloe, you've got it there. So we're promoting Harley Davidson. It's an ad for Harleys, and it's telling the audience to stop dreaming about having this motorbike. You know, dreaming isn't going to get you anywhere. What you need to do is just go and buy one, because in reality, you're you know, holding on to someone's wheelchair and pretending that you're driving a Harley Davidson. Okay, so I think this is a really interesting ad, if I'm honest. I really love this one because it's so different. It does take a little bit of thought, which I know we don't always want, but I think it's a really interesting ad. Do you guys think it's effective or not effective? So a bit of a joke, yeah, exactly. So do you think it's an effective ad? Depending on the audience, okay. Yeah, I mean, even if you see our chat box, there's some confusion. Some people got it because they know the brand, and some people didn't. Because, you know, if you don't know the Harley logo, then you wouldn't know it. Okay, good. So for those who are not sure what Harley Davidson is, it's going to be more difficult. You have to be sort of a motorcycle enthusiast. Good. So imagine you were a motorcycle enthusiast and you knew what it meant. Okay, do you think this would be effective in persuading you? Do you think it would make you think, oh, I wish I had a motorcycle? Makes you laugh? You think that you can help better? Yeah. Okay, so we've got a yes there. I think this is quite an effective ad, but like you guys have all said, only if you know the brand logo, because there's not really anywhere on there that it says other than the logo. So really important that you understand the brand and you know the brand, perhaps a motorcycle enthusiast. So I have one thing that I want you to do. Now this is going to be a pretty difficult, but what I want you to do is think about an everyday product that you use. So it could be, you know, toothpaste or Coca-Cola or shoes, whatever. Okay, literally anything that you use every day. And I want you to think about how you would advertise it. Okay, what would you do on your billboard to advertise this product? Now, what I don't want you to do is create a full-blown pitch here. You don't have to do that. All I want you to do, for example, looking at this one, I want you to imagine you're the person who's come up with this idea, and you're walking in to those who are in charge of marketing, and you go, right, this is my idea. What I want to do is I want to have Stop Dreaming, and then I want to have a guy who looks like he's sat on a motorcycle, but he's actually doing a mundane job. Okay, and that's the pitch. That's all I want, really. A couple of sentences to say, this is how I would advertise this. Does that make sense to everybody? Is anyone a bit unsure of what I mean? Please do message in the chat if you are. If you look at the top of Teams, there's like a little smiley face and a hand. If you click on that, you can like do a thumbs up like this. I don't know if you can see it on my screen, but if you are sure you know what you're doing, can you give me a little thumbs up, a little like? See if we can use Teams. Lovely. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Chloe. Lovely, lovely. So what I'm going to do, I'm hoping that the rest of you, I haven't heard anything, but if you have any questions, please ask me, because I suppose it's a difficult task to get you to do on the spot. I'm going to give you to 5 minutes to really think about it. So I want a print ad. Okay, how would you present this print advertisement to me? What are you going to do it on? What is your product? Make that very clear to me. Okay, and what are you going to do on this design? Okay, got another thumbs up coming in, which is fab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you until 30, well, my clock says it's 32 right now. What I'll do is I'll give you till 30, well, how long should I give you? 4 minutes? That's long enough, isn't it? I think so. I'll give you till 10:36 on my computer, and then I'll ask you to come back. So jot down your ideas, have a good think, and type it in the chat box when you've come up with it. Yeah, of course I can. So what I want you to do is choose an everyday product in your life. So you could choose toothpaste or shoes or something like that. And I want you to think of a print ad that you would create. So for example, if it was me making this pitch to the marketing team at Harley Davidson, I would say, right, so my idea is, okay, I want to have Stop Dreaming in the top right-hand corner, and I want to have this guy who's doing a really mundane job looking like he's riding a motorcycle, imagining that he's riding a motorcycle. Okay, so I want you to explain your idea, but you don't have to like create it or anything like that. Okay, that's way too big of a task. So think about an item that you would want to sell and think about how you would present that to me in a print advertisement. Okay, I'm just going to have a read of yours, Molly. Nice. Okay, nice. Like that. Cool. For those of you who used to come to Shenley, you'll know what that means. So you've got 2 more minutes or so to get this done. It's only been 2 minutes, so you've got plenty of time. Molly, you can just take a breather. Yep. Year 8 going to break, Year 7. Remember, guys, when you're done, just send it in the chat. Advertising electric car. Flying with a Superman cape. Oh, nice. Love that. An electric car, Superman cape, saving the environment. Nice. Interesting. Two people. Okay, so perhaps showing the impact that perfume can have on your life. Presenting yourself in the correct way. Any more to come through? Realised I've gone off the page where it's what you need. For perfume 1, I'd have a person in the middle. Street is glowing and full of colour. Okay, nice. Oh, I like that. The idea of like it adding a pop of colour to your life makes you stand out, makes you different. Interesting. Like that. Any more to come? How many have we had? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only had 4. And we've got 15, 16 people in the chat. So if anybody else has any, please do type them in. I'll give it a minute or so and then we will move on. Sorry if it's just got very noisy, by the way. Year 8 are very loud. So you can probably hear them in the background. Okay, I'm going to move on because I don't know if there's any more coming through. If you guys do have one, please do send it. I'll still read it and I'll still take the time to acknowledge it. So please do send it through if you still have one. Okay, so we have about 12 minutes left of this session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the task I want you to do over summer, and then I'm going to just do a little closing activity, which involves the poll on the team. If you haven't yet put your contribution to the poll, I can see that 8 of you have on the team. Please do answer it and tell me what you think. It'd be really interesting to know which ones you guys would prefer to live without. My computer has slightly crashed, so I can't see anything right now. There we go. Okay, so here is your summer task. Have you been given loads of summer tasks from other subjects already? I suppose you've only had one, haven't you? So, summer task. Create an advert for a product of your choice. Now, I want this to be a print advert. Okay, you can use the ideas that you've put in the chat box if that's something that you want to create. Okay, you can take it that one step further. And I want to encourage you to take your own photographs. Use your phone, get your mum, get your dad involved, get your family involved, your best mate, whatever. You're going to be out of lockdown soon fully, so use that to your advantage. Okay, you don't need anything fancy, just your phone. Okay, you can do it on Word if you don't have any software or Paint or whatever. Okay, you don't need amazing software to create something. Or I'm going to say, I've written in addition to this, you could create a TV or radio ad or a web style sort of social media kind of ad. Yes, you can use Canva. That would be excellent. For those of you who don't know what Canva is, it's like an online editing system. So if you just Google it, it should come up and you should be able to sign up if you didn't attend Shenley or if you didn't do media studies. It's pretty easy to navigate. It's self-explanatory, and if you're not sure, then there's some YouTube videos that you can watch to get you through it. Okay, and then I would like you, just for 1 week, so you can do it this week or towards the end if you wanted to, whatever. I want you to keep a record of what media you are using and why you're using it so often or not so often. So, for example, I want you to think, oh, in the morning, the first thing I do is pick up my phone and I scroll through Twitter. Okay, I want you to think about how you're using media in your life. All right? Is everybody clear on that summer task? I don't know if you want to quickly write it down to make sure you're aware, but this recording will be available for you to look back on, I believe. It should be. I'm not sure what that is, but if it helps you to create a product, then yes, of course. Any software that you have, you can use. Preferably anything that's free would be good, because I don't want you to be spending money. Yes, so that was going to be my next point. When you've created your product, you need to make sure that it is in a suitable format to be emailed. So you need something like a PDF or a JPEG. Okay, so make sure you're saving it in the right format. Depending on the software that you use, this is usually quite easy. If you're on like Word or something like that, you just click File, Save As, and then you can change the format quite easily. An app on the mobile is absolutely fine, as long as you can export that or email it to me in some way. Okay, so my email is on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type it in the chat so that you can copy and paste it if you need to. There you go. So choose carefully. You can either do a print ad or a TV ad or a social media campaign. I know I've said in addition, but I think that would be way too much work for you, to be honest. Now I'm looking back on it, to do a print ad and something else. So choose one and really go with it. Make it good, make it decent. You can do a website if you want. For those of you that have done media, some of you will have used a website. Some of you will have created a website. Some of you will have created magazines, if I'm correct, magazine cover. But you can go for a billboard, you can go for TV ads, you can go for a radio ad, so you can just speak if you want. That's fine. That'll need to be an MP3 file though, if you're going to do that and send it to me. Okay, is everybody clear on this summer task? Can you give me a thumbs up before I move on? Because I don't want to leave any of you behind if you're not sure. Or if you're not sure, you can just email me and I will explain further. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Harry. Thanks, Hope. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks, Jamie. It's really nice to see so many of you getting involved in the chat box. Thanks, Molly, Tudor. So many of you are from Shenley, aren't you? You can see here. Who's not? It's lovely. Okay. Yes, definitely. Please do look at as many different ads as you can. Get some ideas from them. Okay, now try not to like copy them, but definitely use them for ideas and for layout and structure and things. Perhaps if you're, for example, selling perfume, you need to look at some other perfume advertisements and see what they've done and how you could do things differently. What would I say is the hardest part of media studies? Well, I think it depends. I think quite often the hardest part is the writing tasks usually, because they're a bit Englishy. So the essays can be quite difficult for some people because they choose media because they want to be practical, they want to understand society. But unfortunately, the essays do come with that. So you do need to have a really broad knowledge. And that's something that media has that a lot of other subjects don't, because we don't just focus on newspapers, we don't just focus on magazines, we focus on radio, focus on social media, we focus on gaming, we focus on film industry. So there's so many different aspects that you need to remember, and I'd say that's the toughest part. But we are trying to get it so that you learn a module and then you do the exam, so that it's fresh in your mind straight when the exam comes. Are there any other questions? You know, I want to hear what you guys think. Are you excited? I would be excited. I did media studies for A-level too, many moons ago. No questions? If you do have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. Just before we finish, we've got, let's see. Would you recommend keeping our GCSE work? The only thing I would recommend you keeping is that if there's anything on audiences or industry, keep that. But we don't use the same texts, so don't keep anything text specific. As long as you know how to analyze a key text or discuss industry and things like that, then you don't need to keep it. I'm going to have a look at the poll in the chat. So we've got, what would you prefer, a week without music or a week without social media? And it seems more of you are saying social media, which actually surprises me. For those of you that said a week without social media, how do you think you'd cope? What would you do with all that spare time that you've got? Because let's be honest, we can pretend we don't all sit on TikTok for 6 hours, but sometimes it happens. And you fall down that rabbit hole. I'm sure we could all get so much more done with our lives. Listen to music. Fair enough. How long can music entertain you for? I suppose you could listen to podcasts or something like that. They're quite entertaining. Okay, so we've only got like 2 minutes left of this session now, 3 minutes left of this session. So I'm going to use these last couple of minutes to take any questions you might have. I will let you go if you don't have any queries or you don't have anything you're worried about, and you're clear on the summer task, then you can leave now. If you have anything you want to say, please hang around and type it in the chat box. But other than that, I can't wait to meet you all. Very exciting times in September. Thank you, Molly. Thank you all for being... Oh yeah, it's 10:55, isn't it? I'm wrong. Ignore me, because we've still got 8 minutes left. I mean, if you've already left, it's a bit late. But if you haven't already left, don't go yet, because I've got the time wrong. Is it 10:55? Or is it 10:50? Let me check my paper. No, my thing says 10:50. I think you then have your break, like we would have break time here. And then you come back at 11:15 for your next one. That's what my paper says. Anyway, so I'm going to go with that. So I am going to say goodbye. And you nearly had me there. I am going to say goodbye. If you've got any questions, please do ask me. But thank you for being so active. And have a fabulous day. I hope the rest of your taster sessions are good and you're excited. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I'm going to go by my one, but I will make sure I make a comment to someone to make sure that they know that that's been put out wrong. All right? Sorry, Chloe. Have a little break. That's exciting. Right, see you later then, guys. You can leave if you haven't got any questions. Thank you. Bye.